This is the 6th CATS Maths, and today we're doing some absolute value problems, some inequalities, and solving for a variable with equations that have multiple variables. So first, we're going to work on how many solutions are there for 30 times the absolute value of 2 minus 5n plus 9 equals 9. So we want to get the absolute value by itself. So we'll subtract 9 from both sides. 30 times the absolute value of 2 minus 5n equals 0. Divide by 30. The absolute value of 2 minus 5n equals 0. So usually with absolute value problems at this point, you drop the bars and write two equations, one with the positive value here and one with the negative value. But we have a 0 in this instance, so that means that there's only going to be one solution, and that's the solution 2. So we know there's going to be one solution, but just to finish the problem, you end up with negative 5n equals negative 2, so n is equal to 2/5. Here we have 4 plus 8 times the absolute value of x plus 1 equals 52. So let's see how many solutions we get for this one. Again, you want to get the absolute value alone, so we'll subtract 4 from both sides. Divide by the 8. So we have an actual value here, it's not 0, so we can do the two equations, x plus 1 equals 6, and x plus 1 equals negative 6. So you know right off the bat there's going to be two solutions. And let's just solve to finish. So x is equal to 5, and x is equal to negative 7. Next, we're going to solve the equation for the indicated variable. So for this one, we're going to solve for r. So we want r by itself. We'll subtract 2. Divide by a negative 4. The negative goes away there. So r is equal to 3t over 44s plus 1/2. And so that you can see the intermediate step that I kind of avoided. We're dividing, which is the same as multiplying by 1/4. So that 4 distributes in, and you end up with, oops, that's negative, end up with 3t over 44s plus 1/2. Now we're going to solve the equation for k. So we have j equals 5m minus 12 minus 3k. We want k by itself, so we're going to move stuff over. So subtract 5m, add 12, subtract 5m, add 12. So negative 3k is equal to j minus 5m plus 12, and then divide by the 3. So k is equal to j minus 5m plus 12 all over negative 3. Next, we're going to just solve the equations. So here I have 6 plus the absolute value of 3t plus 4 is equal to 37. So we want to get the absolute value alone. We'll subtract 6 from both sides. And then we're going to set this equal to the positive and negative. So 3t plus 4 equals 31. and 3t plus 4 equals negative 31. And then solve for t. So we'll subtract 4 from both sides. That's 27. 3t is equal to negative 35. So here t is equal to 9. And here t is equal to negative 35 over 3. Next one we have is 3 times the absolute value of 5 plus 2k minus 4, and it equals 107. So again, you need to get the absolute value alone. So we'll add 4 to both sides. 3 times the absolute value of 5 plus 2k is equal to 111. And then we'll divide by 3. 5 plus 2k equals 111 over 3. And then we'll subtract, got ahead of myself. Now we're going to set this equal to its positive and negative. So 5 plus 2k is equal to positive 111 over 3. And 5 plus 2k is equal to negative 111 over 3. So we'll subtract 5 from both sides. So in terms of thirds, 5 is 15 thirds. So 2k is equal to, 111 minus 15, so that's 496 thirds. And then here, we're again subtracting 15 thirds. So 2k is equal to negative 126 thirds. And let's see, we can simplify this one. 12. And let's see, we can also simplify this one. Lovely. It's negative 42. And then divide by 2. K is equal to 6. K is equal to negative 21. So the solution for this one is k equals 6 or k equals negative 21. And then finally, which of the following graphs represents the solution to the inequality negative 3 times the absolute value of 2m plus 16 is less than negative 18? So we've got 4 different options here. And in order to figure out which one it is, we need to start to solve this inequality. So negative 3 times the absolute value of 2m plus 16 is less than negative 18. So we'll divide by that negative 3. And when we divide or multiply by a negative across a greater than or less than sign, the sign flips. So now we have 2m plus 16 is greater than 6. And then when you're doing absolute value inequalities, there's an easy way to think about it is absolute value is the distance from 0. So if you have the absolute value of x is greater than 6, that means that this x can't be more than 6 away from 0. So it could be 6 away from 0 in the negative direction. Right here's 0. It could be all the way up to, but not quite to that point. And it could also be all the way up to, let's see, greater than, So that point and beyond, because it's x is greater than 6. And then it would also be this point and beyond. So the distance on the number line here for each of these is greater than 6, right? If you just count distant-wise, you'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So thinking of it like that, you could say, well, x has to be greater than 6. It also has to be less than negative 6, right? We had that number line. Here was 6. Here was negative 6. In order to be more than 6 distance units away from 0, you had to be greater than 6, or you had to be less than negative 6. So let's set this guy in the same situation. 2m plus 16 is greater than 6, and 2m plus 16 is less than negative 6. And then just solve for the m. So 2m is greater than, what's that, negative 16, so negative 10. 2m is less than negative 22. Divide by the 2, and it's a positive number, so it's not going to change your greater than or less than sign. So you have m is greater than negative 5, and m is less than negative 11. So already we know that it's going to be on a number line in this kind of direction, right? Because it needs to be more than 6 distance units away. So we can count 2 of these out, right? This one can't be right because it's in between 2 values. So between these 2, we've got m is greater than negative 5, okay, and m is less than negative 11. Okay, so the only difference is this. So we've got an open circle here, and we've got a closed circle on this one. Because these don't have an equal sign on them, C is going to be the correct answer. The open dots represent when it can't equal that number. So it has to be just a little bit greater than negative 5, just a little bit smaller than negative 11. If you have any other questions, feel free to let me know, and I'd be happy to help you out. Hope you have a good rest of your week.